I mean,
really
people
don't.
seem to be really interested in the no questions to Tomlin. I can break it down for you what happened. First of all, it was the first preseason game in Jacksonville. There's not a lot of media. It went 19 people weren't playing, so people were like, forget this. Number one. Number two is they opened the locker room the same exact time as Tomlin talks. And they try to get out of there so quickly, considering Tomlin is live streamed on their interwebs or their website. You can always get what he says off of there. He never really says anything. So you go to the locker room and get those guys before they're out and get to the bus. So that's what happened.
I mean, you guys are taking it on the chin.
That's exactly what happened.
You're taking it on the chin. You're taking it on the chin because the whole Cam Heyward and Chris Boswell situation, nobody reported it.
Yep.
And you're taking it because nobody asked a question at the Tomlin press conference.
Well, the Heyward Boswell thing is, I mean, first of all, do you remember Aaron Rodgers' first pass of camp and it was picked off?
Yes.
Guess who was playing? Oh, Cam Heyward. So it's not like he hasn't been out on the field during team activities, team drills. I know that was a non-padded acclimation period practice. But a guy that's 36, 37 years old, and they continue to tell him, we know he doesn't need to be out there. And you see him every once in a while. You see him a lot during individuals. If he's out there for one play of team period and you miss it, you're like, you're not thinking twice about it.
No, because he's old, and I think that's a legitimate defense of the media. Like, had I been there watching every day, my assumption would have been he's not out there because they're protecting a 36-year-old player who was, from start to finish, the most consistent player on their defense last year.
Yeah.
The question is, what do we think Heyward wants? How do we think this all plays out? Because Dorn and I talked about it on Friday. If you're moving money forward, we figure that probably gets done.
Yeah.
If he's asking to be paid $25 million like the top defensive lineman in the NFL, I don't know, man.
Well, he's already got paid, what, 16 this year? 15? With that guaranteed money, I thought he got 14 and he got $1.5 million, whatever. 15, 16. So it wouldn't be too much to get to that point if you quote unquote, advance his money. But I'm sure he wants more than that. I'm sure he wants next year guaranteed as well. Maybe he wants something from 2 years from now until now. But that's one of my issues right now. You don't drop this from your agent to a national media member, put that out there, then just go radio silent, say, I'm not talking. If you have enough guts to go out there and put this out there to the world, maybe you should explain yourself afterwards. That's the only real issue I have.
You know he's going to on his podcast, right?
Yeah, I understand that. Now, maybe that's another thing that bothers you, right?
Doesn't bother me.
Well, you have to wait 4 or 5 days with continuous speculation of what he wants. And I don't think he's going to go on his podcast and say, I want $7 extra million. And I mean, hey, he bet on himself last year, right? He wanted that guaranteed money because he probably was unsure if he was going to be able to come back. He outplayed that contract. If he wanted to, he could have just signed a 2-year deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all this could have been avoided. But in the end, he's going to get his money.
Yeah,
he's going to get his guaranteed money. Boswell, I tell him, come talk to me in March and April.
Well, Mark, I will say this. I did tell you about Boswell a few months ago.
You did. I did hear it come from, and I totally dismissed it, right?
Yes, you did.
Because I'm like, 2 years out for a kicker? Are you
like,
kidding
no
me?
Way. You told me no way. I was like, I'm
said
telling you.
2 years out for a kicker?
I tried to give you a bone there. You didn't take it.
Well, I didn't think Boswell had that enough guts to ask for money.
I mean, it's only like what, 1.5.
They could pay him $1.5 million, and he would become the highest paid kicker in the NFL.
It's the precedent. That's
well,
what it is.
So here, and I want to get into the game. I want to spend most of the time on the game, but you can't. I don't think you can do one without the other. Like,
oh, sure you can.
I don't think you can.
One's a 17-year veteran who's a potential Hall of Famer, and the other one's a kicker.
Fair enough.
The one you
I understand that, but he can win your games next year. And what are the odds of him getting hurt this year and not getting paid next year? Very slim compared to Heyward.
Sure.
Boswell's gotten hurt a couple times.
Yeah, but very slim compared to Heyward.
The reason I think they're both in similar situations is because Cam Heyward was an All-Pro last year, arguably the best defensive lineman in the NFL after Dexter Lawrence got hurt. And Boswell's the best kicker in the sport. And so I don't think that you're setting any kind of dangerous precedence here, because if Peyton Wilson, if he were to be a good player, a really good player, says, let's negotiate with 2 years left on my deal, tough. Cam Heyward's a 10-time captain, an all-pro future Hall of Famer, and Boswell's the best in the biz. They can play by different rules than everybody else. Ben did. Ben's a first ballot Hall of Famer, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and they moved money up for Antonio Brown because he is a different cat. So I don't think you're setting a dangerous precedent. It's for the best among them that you would be willing to break precedent for.
I just think it's a convenient excuse for the Steelers. We don't do it this way, so don't even ask. That's probably what it is more than anything else. It's not like, okay, we'll pick and choose. We're the Pittsburgh Steelers. We reserve the right to extend whoever we want at any time. I mean, I'm sure they can do that, but they probably like the blanket statement of, hey, man, we just don't do this. Sorry. Unless you're an unusual circumstance like Ben, which is understandable because you're a franchise quarterback, and Antonio, which was the fuzziest math I've ever seen in my life, and then end up getting him a, $4 or $5 million pay raise?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess you can do something like that for Heyward. I just wouldn't do that with Boswell. I'm just like saying, come talk to me. You know,
I mean, it's $1.5 million.
I understand that, but then how about when, Joey Porter wants something early? I mean, you can't say, well, you did it for this guy and this guy. I understand they're the organization. They set the rules. But just to say, sorry, it's out of my hands, man. We just don't do that. I think it's a lot simpler negotiation tactics.
All right, you want to talk about football?
Was there a game?
Let's talk about the real football. You can text us, brought to you by Edgar Snyder and Associates, a personal injury law firm where they always say there's never a fee unless we get money for you.
Oh, can I start this off when you're done here? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Did that cut you off?
Yeah.
All right, good.
You could tweet us, brought to you by South Hills Kia in Peters Township. Visit them at southhillskia.net. Go, take it where you want to go.
Dorn just hammered me about the Ben, not Roethlisberger.
Sauls.
No, Boswell. The Boswell, I told you he was whatever. I'm going to say this. Why don't you throw some flowers my way? And I've been telling you about Darnell Washington for the past 6 months that he's a different guy. I'll sit here and listen to your response.
I didn't say that he wasn't. I never said he wasn't.
Yeah, you.
What did I didn't say he wasn't.
I know.
I believed you.
This is something you've seen from him. Day one at OTAs, he was a different dude. Last year, I was all over him. I'm like, this guy's he can't walk. He looks like me walking. He looks like me running. He'll never be nothing but a end-of-the-line blocker. Man, something happened in that offseason. Something flipped, and he's been doing that since April, Adam. Same stuff every single day he's been doing.
Every day, consistent.
Every day.
Wow.
And he went from OTAs to mini camp to training camp to now preseason games. He's been doing that.
Mark, I've brought this stat up a couple of times today. They were in 13 personnel, 3 tight ends, 15% of the time last year. Doesn't sound like a lot. It was the most in the NFL. They were 26 in terms of EPA, so their effectiveness not there despite them using it. Now you've got Jonnu Smith, who's a dog. You've got Darnell Washington, who clearly is improved. And you've got Pat Freiermuth, who was underutilized. I mean, how much do you think they're going to use that this year, the 3 tight ends? And how do you defend it?
That's the thing. They have the 3 tight ends out there. You can pretty much get a matchup you want. I mean, depending on how the defense counters with your 3 tight ends out there, you go the other way. And you got a smart enough quarterback to be able to recognize that quite quickly. And, as you would say, if a guy splits out and the linebacker goes with Jonnu Smith, guess where I'm going?
Yep.
I'm going there. I mean, there's so many different options there. Plus, you have the DK Metcalfs who can catch and run better than mostly anybody in the league. And you got the quarterback and can get you there. And you know what? I think that's under the radar this past game was some pretty decent start to Arthur Smith's season. I think he was on top of things.
That was our number one takeaway, that and the tackles.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of play action, a lot of middle of the field.
Well, Mason was pretty.
That's your guy, too.
I mean, same thing. You just keep seeing guys do the same things. Eventually, it's going to show up in games. And I kept saying about Max Harleman, too. I'm like, the guy just shows up every day in practice, and there he goes with a touchdown as well. So, I mean, training camp might not mean anything in the grand scheme of things, but then you see him start popping up later in the season. You're like, well, maybe it does have something to do with it.
Do you think Darnell will be the best tight end on the roster at the end of the season?
Probably not. I mean, I like to see Jonnu game action. I mean, I know what he did in Miami last year was spectacular, but I don't know quite how they're going to not fit him in, but how they're going to utilize him. I think he'll still be the third tight end in terms of receptions, targets, and all that stuff, but he's a guy that you have to really keep an eye on, especially red zone 10 yards and in, where he can just body a guy up. Or you can see, as you saw on Saturday, he can run a route, man. He can run around. This is what they thought they were getting a couple years ago. And I know you were high on him a couple years ago, and I don't know if the knee was bothered. I don't know what it was. He just wasn't that guy.
Well, and you said he's bigger than he's been, too, and he's running better. It's a hell of a combination.
And we're forgetting about his blocking ability, too, right? We're just like, no, that's the best part of his game.
Let's get into the offensive line when we come back. And I don't know that you could ask for a better performance out of those two tackles.